Welcome back to Outside Views, and today we need to talk about something truly corrosive that is happening at the heart of the British political establishment. And we are asking a dangerous question. Is the Labour government actively denying democracy? And my strong personal view is that the recent politically motivated decision to postpone 4 key mayoral elections by 2 full years is not just an administrative error. It's a shameful and cynical act of democratic subversion designed to protect a fearful government from the verdict of its own voters. And this is a government so clearly running scared of the political groundswell against it, particularly the rise of the Reform UK party. I don't like them, you know that, but still. And that is literally cancelling elections for 7 million people. And this is not how confident, strong or democratic governments behave. It gives the impression of an administration that is fearful of local democracy, and that is never a good look for any government. The controversy centers on 4 new mayoralties. Is that the correct English? Mayoralties? Well, at least it's Greater Essex, Hampshire and the Solent, Norfolk and Suffolk, and Sussex and Brighton. And these elections were scheduled for May 2026, part of the government's much vaunted devolution priority program, a supposed fast track to giving local areas more power and an elected figurehead. But on December 4th, the government effectively tore up its own plan and pushed the elections back to May 2028. The official justification is that more time is needed to complete local government reorganization in these areas, the complex process of switching from 2-tier local councils to new single unitary authorities. And the government claims that mayors must only take office after these new unitary councils are fully established to ensure strong foundations are in place. However, this justification simply does not hold up to even the slightest scrutiny. It's a thin veil for naked political maneuvering. And why? Firstly, the government itself set the original timetable for devolution just months earlier in its devolution white paper, knowing full well the complexity of running LGR and mayoral elections in parallel. And local authorities in these regions had been working flat out, spending huge amounts of time, money and political capital to meet the government's May 2026 deadline. And now, all those plans, all those selected and all campaigning mayoral candidates from across the ideological spectrum have been plunged into 2.5 years of electoral limbo. And secondly, this is the second time elections have been postponed in these very areas. Council elections due in May 2025 were also delayed until 2026 on the grounds that elections should not be held for bodies that would soon be abolished. And the government's stated priorities for LGR and devolution have been contradictory and erratic from the start. And it shows a profound lack of respect for the local government sector. And I'm talking about from my heart here. As my longtime viewers know, I'm the first deputy district mayor in my country. And in my city, of course, and in my district. But the true motivation for this decision is unmistakably political. And this is a government looking at the polls and seeing a threat so severe that it is willing to suspend the democratic process to buy time. The latest polling shows the far-right Reform UK party riding high, sometimes polling at 30%, 9 points ahead of both Labour and the Conservatives. And more critically, Reform UK has already proven its ability to win in the very kinds of traditional conservative-leaning county areas that make up the postponed mayoralties. And Reform has already won mayoral elections in Lincolnshire and Hull and East Yorkshire, not Yorkshire. Watching too much Lord of the Rings probably. But they did that in May 2025, demonstrating that they are a serious election-winning force at the local level. Even we talked about their running those councils anyway. The clear cynical truth is that the Labour government is terrified of seeing 4 more Reform UK mayors elected in 2026, which would grant the opposition party a massive platform, but also legitimacy and a huge boost in momentum ahead of the next general election. They are kicking the political can down the road to 2028, hoping that their political fortunes will improve, or perhaps even that a new, more proportional electoral system, due to be implemented by 2028, incidentally, will make it harder for the Reform Party to win. And this is the definition of democracy delayed and democracy denied, as one Liberal Democrat spokesperson put it. And I have to give them that. I prefer proportional representation because that is, from my point of view, a far more democratic system. But still, elections are the most democratic system. And a former Labour local government minister, Jim McMahon, even hit out at his own party saying, "We need to be better than this," and warned that Sir Keir Starmer risks squandering trust in Labour. And the bar for suspending elections should be set incredibly high, typically only for national emergencies like war or a major public health crisis, not for the convenience of a politically struggling administration. The government's decision to delay the elections, especially the second delay in 2 years, is not only an affront to the voters, but it actively harms the regions they claim to be helping. Mayoral devolution is explicitly linked to more far-reaching powers and access to long-term investment funds. By delaying the creation of the mayors, the 4 affected areas will collectively receive £215 million less in investment funds between 2026 and 2028 than they were promised. The government is talking passionately about economic growth and putting power in the hands of local leaders, yet 1 week later, they were postponing the establishment of those very leaders, directly stalling investment and strategic planning for an area covering 7 million people. And this is not an administrative move. It's sabotage of local economic development for partisan gain. And the damage here is not just political or financial, it is systemic and cultural. When a government with a healthy majority casually decides to cancel elections twice because the political landscape is inconvenient, it sends a terrifying message to the electorate. It breeds the exact kind of cynicism, disillusionment and disengagement that the rise of parties like Reform UK is built upon. It lends credence to the accusations that Number 10 is acting like despots and not Democrats, as the Reform leader claimed then. It undermines the foundational faith that the rules of the democratic game are stable, fair, and above the short-term tactical whims of the party in power. And the very promise of devolution, to empower local communities and rebuild trust, is being fundamentally betrayed by a government that is clearly afraid to let local people choose their own powerful champions and hold them accountable. And this decision gives the impression that the Labour Party is willing to prioritize its own electoral advantage over the fundamental principles of timely, accountable, and transparent local democracy. It's a profound and unforced error that will continue to erode trust in the government for years to come. And the core of my view is this: you cannot claim to champion democracy while simultaneously cancelling the vote because you fear the outcome.